I
All
am
right.
so excited to have you two on the Unity Project today. This is Susie and Ricky, and they are a couple in twin flame union, and they also created Pink Diamond Guide. I would love for you to tell my viewers about Pink Diamond Guide.
Yeah, well, I'll speak to that one. We created Pink Diamond Guide really because having gone through the pink flame twin flame journey and looking out to what's happening and the information that was out there, it's like to us, it felt like there was a lot of misinformation about what the journey was about, and that
Yes.
people who were still moving forward who were in separation phases and they're looking forward going they just want to get into union. They just think that it's this magical goal, that goes, oh, I'll get to union, then all my troubles will be solved. And it's like, we got to union, but
That
it
didn't
wasn't
happen,
the,
did it?
no, it's not the magical fix that I think that is, well, sort of, what people think they're chasing is some magical answer. So Pink Diamond Guide, I mean, the name of it itself is really pink diamonds are the gems in the world that are formed under the most amount of pressure. It's how they get their
Mm,
color,
love
it's
that.
how they get their quality. So we kind of looked at it and went, on a twin flame journey, really people trying to understand the nuances of what it is to be in love and be on this mission. We kind of thought there's a lot of pressure going on there. So we called it Pink Diamond Guide in going that twin flames really are those beautiful gems out there. And we wanted to share a message to keep learning, keep growing, because you will form that beautiful gem as part of the soul ascension journey.
Yes. Ah, that is so beautiful. It's hard though. Like, and there's days where you're like, oh my gosh, this journey is just so beautiful. It's so amazing. I feel so blessed. And then there's days where you're just like, fuck, I'm crazy
Yeah.
and I'm living in absolute delusion and everybody's probably laughing at me while I'm posting all this stuff on social media. You know, and
It's not some days, it's every day with this one.
it's such a like mind
Yes.
warp to get over and to get, and it's also like I noticed a big part of this journey was really getting in alignment with your full expression and your truth and not caring what other people think.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. Um, and we did, like, I mean, we've been on this journey for a little while now, and it is one of the things that we laugh about together is just how crazy it is. It has been such a ride to get to this point. What do you think? Like, it's been a lot. Hey, it's been, yeah, we're not.
So,
It's been fun. It's fun. It's been a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
so how long have you two been on this path?
Like since the first day we met, we've been 4 years to probably to this point. But I mean, like, to me, what I want to say to people is the twin flame journey isn't just, it doesn't begin necessarily when you meet this person,
No.
right? So I would say I've been on the journey for 10 years, like been on this journey consciously for about 10 years. So I was awake to it before like we actually met. And like when I was and I've been living it my whole life, this soul ascension awareness has been there a long time. And when I was at high school, I actually my first crush was his doppelganger. Like really, it's like I was it was like quite literally, and then I met him and I'm like, oh my god, it's you, it's you. But now I'm like, I've always, it's like I knew what I was looking for even when I was like 17. I knew what I was looking for.
Yes.
And then it was like I
Even
woke
when
up
you were a kid, right?
even when I was a kid. Yeah, yeah. And it's like, and then woke up to the journey about 10 years ago.
But it's
And then
also different from like the fantasy that you have as a kid. Like,
very different.
yeah.
Very different. I mean, the thing that triggered me is it's like I went, oh my god, it's you. I'm in trouble here. It's you. You know, like I knew what I was looking for on some level. I had like woke awareness of it. And it was, you know, like the journey since then has been a special ride, but like, to say the least. Yeah. But I knew what I was looking for. Like I'd had the visual of it's you. That's you're the thing. So it's like when I go, how long have we been on this journey? Like, to be honest, when you wake up to the truth of the twin flame journey, since the day you were born, you were on the twin flame
Yes.
journey. Just when you come into higher consciousness of it, and then actually get into the process of forming a relationship and moving through the process of coming into union. That's been 4 years for us to this point.
Okay, 4
Yeah.
years. So, can you tell us a little bit about your story, like how it happened, the separations that happened? A lot of people want to know about the separations and how long they were, and if you actually went no contact, and what was the longest period of no contact?
We did go no contact.
What was that like?
It was tricky. Like we like we met and we were it was about 3 months that we were together, and
Sounds
then
about right.
yeah, it's pretty standard. Like our story is pretty like runner chaser, ego
But,
dramas.
they weren't built for long distance running, so there wasn't very long between running and chasing. So, but then she ran proper, blocked me
Did,
and
huh?
everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
How long? 18 months.
about that. Yeah, our
Whoa.
longest was 18 months.
Full no contact, blocked me, everything. Still stalked me, but she had a little fight for me.
Yeah, I hear that's common too.
Like initially we got together for it was about 3 months, and then like the ego problems rose, and we kind of separated initially, and we both met other people. But then it was like the little messages like, do you want to catch up for a coffee? And I'm like, and we were, yeah, okay, we'll catch up for coffee. We can be friends. This is all good, you know? And then we sort of hung into that phase. We were both dating other people, but still talking to each other. And
Mhm.
then that lasted for about 6 months, I would say. Yeah. And then we both broke up with those people and had a go at seeing each other again. And then that lasted a couple of months, and then we had a spectacular falling out. It was the most the most spectacular version of us falling out, because like we're wired very, very differently. I'm 10 years older than he is. You know, we come from different backgrounds, we're standard twin flame doctrine. So the things that were coming up between us were like, I was running a business, looking after kids. I was very, very serious about things that were going on in my life. And, you know, like, and Ricky was a little bit more sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And
Literally.
literally,
Yes.
literally. So that became we had a spectacular falling out. And where it was a polite, I don't want to see you ever again. But that was the I just want to get off this merry-go-round with you. I just don't want to be in this crazy headspace with you all the time, where I love you and I hate you in every single moment that we're together. So it was like we had falling out, and that was our longest separation, was about 18 months. And in that time, I moved within 6 months. I was married to someone else, which is how spectacular that breakup was.
Wow.
Yeah, I was so determined never to go back there that I married someone else, and your journey went a little differently while we were in separation. Hey,
I was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Literally, hit rock bottom, drugs, everything, alcohol, um, party. Lost my job, lost my house, lost everything.
Mm.
And I come off it and got a new job. Right?
Yeah.
So I started building again from that, and then I get this message, "Hey, how you doing?" And I didn't know it was here at first.
Yeah.
Then we started chatting, and then I'm like, "Holy shit! Like, what are you doing messaging me?" And then it started all the way down now.
Wow, beautiful. So, did you have dreams of each other? Like what was the communication like, whether it's like telepathically or signs during the separation phase? And specifically, what was it like for the runner?
Well, that's the thing. At that point, during that separation, I was the runner. Like, you know, Ricky ran. When we look at our runner chaser story, Ricky ran into things like drugs and alcohol. Like, instead
Mhm.
of facing up to what was going on, he would just get, you know,
Blind, just
yeah, he would,
annihilate myself.
yeah. So to me,
Yeah.
that was him running, and I would be chasing him out of his addictions until the point where I'd go, well, now I'm going to be the runner. I'm out of here. Can't do this, and in between time, I mean, we've both married someone else, I'd still do a sneaky stalk and go, um, you know, are you okay? I would never message or anything. It was just like checking in to see if he was okay, and it looked like he was still sort of barreling down that destructive path. So I just was focusing on being married and moving down that path, and then but like I suppose the thing, and we talk about this going, did you think about me during that separation? And we both go, yeah. Were there things that triggered you during that time?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, it wasn't that it was forgotten. And I talk about this when I'm, doing readings and stuff. It was just that the connection got put on the shelf because
Yeah.
we were not evolved enough to hold it. It was, it just wouldn't stick. And it was like the harder that you try to talk about it being like, the harder I tried to choke it, bottleneck it, put it in place.
I know
It
that
was like,
one.
it was like a ghost in my fingers. It would just disappear. And we
Mhm.
had to learn how to, you know, let the connection flow more. And there was obviously a lot of ascension work to do in order to move into a place where we could hold it. But it's still during that phase of running and separation. It was how I describe it. I put it on the shelf, and he put it on the shelf, and we got about life, knowing that I was determined I was never coming back. Like, I was red hot. I was never coming back. It was too much. Even though I knew what the journey was about, I knew what the mission was about. It's when you understand the doctrine and they talk about the fact that you have to separate, and you have to cut off, learn, grow, move, ascend, do all those kinds of things. Like, it's not this, I'm just sort of saying that, like, with the doctrine, it's not out there because somebody had fun writing it. It's out there
No.
because it's true doctrine. And the
Yeah.
separation phase is the most important phase that your relationship will go through.
Such a gift.
Yeah.
Even though it's hard, right? It is such a gift. I had a question for you and I forgot what it was, but I know it'll come back if it's important.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. So, did you get into the marriage to try to get over him? Because I found like I haven't even met anyone that I'm like remotely attracted to yet.
Let's hear this.
Let's hear this. Well, I did. And like, it was, you know, the person that I married was the person that I dated when we first separated. Like, when we first went through that initial phase, and like when we had our spectacular person I was dating before, and quite
Mhm.
literally within weeks of going back there, he's there with the ring saying, "Will you marry me?" And in my head,
Ah,
I'm going, "Yes, I will. I will marry you, and I never have to go
anything to
back to
undo that
my
situation.
exactly." So like I was in a really, and like I'm sure like plenty of people would understand. I was in such a low place, thinking that I had to turn my back on this for good.
Mm,
That somebody who was kind and wanted to commit and wanted to do all the right things looked like a pretty good option. So
yeah.
yeah, so I did. I said yes, and within a couple of months, I'm literally standing there getting married. And I've admitted this to Ricky. I'm standing there getting married in my head going, I never have to go back to Ricky. I never have to go back to the twin flames. I'm just going to soulmate it for the rest of my life.
Oh, so many people say that. I'm just going to choose a soulmate. Like, you don't get to really decide.
And it was with understanding the doctrine and everything that was going on, and it was up on the shelf. And I knew in the back of my mind, I'm like, if this connection was meant to come online, it will. And the only way that that would happen was if I did my work. But at that time, when I was choosing that path, I didn't want to do any more work. I was just like, oh, this is too bloody hard. I don't want to do it.
Hmm.
But the universe had other ideas, and it was like things kept happening that forced me back into soul ascension, and none of it was with the intention of bringing him back. It was just, I've got to evolve here. I've got to learn. I've got to grow. I've got to move. And then, out of nowhere, like my husband just left, like just left.
Oh,
It,
look at that.
just like magic, he just walked out.
Just as quick as
Wow.
he walked
He
out.
walked out, and it was like it wasn't. Oh, careful! You just, I think that just knocked
No,
down.
you're
Did
good.
we just still there? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Um, and that was when you talk about did we have dreams and all of that stuff going on. That was what turned me around. Is like I'd suddenly found myself, single again out of nowhere. And the first thing on my mind, and people were teasing me, how long is it going to be till you ring Ricky? Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But it was like I kept dreaming about, like it was in my field of awareness anyway. And I was I was like his dad was in my dream. I kept dreaming about his dad, and he kept saying to me, he's good now. You can reach out. He's better. He's good. And when I did reach out, lo and behold, there he was working a really great job, and focused, and life had taken a massive change. And I got to find out all the things that had happened to him in that time of separation that had brought him onto a more solid path, and it gave us a shot at trying
Beautiful.
to, yeah,
You said it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was
That's
just
interesting you
extracting
dream
rock
about
and
that.
roll till I found a job.
Yeah, brought you out of it, eh?
Uh,
Mm.
that was it. I was just looking for a break. I was over it. And I got a job working in. Job was working in the mines. So I was working. I come off the drugs and alcohol and all that crap, and started working in the mines. And I was working away when I got a, hey, how are you?
Mm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, aren't you married?
That
That was one of the first questions I asked you,
was your
wasn't it?
first question.
Yeah,
Are you
aren't
married?
you married?
Why are you messaging me?
Yeah, and then yeah, it was not married, and yeah, we're here. How long ago was that? 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. It's been, yeah. Gosh, yeah.
Two
Time
years.
flies, doesn't it?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's we would say we came back into union at that time, and that was probably the first time we were really unpacking what our connection was. And like I'd had it in the back of my head. It's like I know who you are. I know, and we'd never talked twin flames before that point. We'd never gone. What is this crazy connection that we're so polar opposite in so many ways that keeps bringing us back together. And it was the first time, and
It
like,
was, I rang you, I messaged you. I was
yeah.
like really low, like this, I don't know what it was. I was just like really low. And then I was like, she was the only person I wanted to talk to about this shit.
Hmm.
And then
I
I
hear that a
messaged her.
lot.
She goes, yeah, and then we were up to what, 4 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, yeah,
Just
just
unload a
unpacking it.
whole heap of, well, garbage, baggage, whatever you want to call it. for hours.
For hours.
Yeah.
It was
And then I
that
fell
was
asleep. Yeah, I fell asleep.
but it was the first time gone, what the hell is this? And I knew what it was, and that's just generally across the doctrine the feminine does understand first. And then
Mhm.
it was this phone call going, I am just and this is after we reconnected. We'd sort of been dating, I suppose you'd call it. And then he just one night he goes, come get me. Something's off. Something's really wrong, and like I just need to talk to you. And that was the night that we actually sat and unpacked, and I was able to go, well, this is what we've been through. And you were the first one to go, have you heard of this twin flame concept? Actually, I have. You want me to tell you all about it? It was a lot.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't until after that, 18 months we were separated. And then when she contacted me again, it was, she had this little secret she couldn't tell me. And I'm like, well, what do you mean secret? She goes, so, on the phone and shit like that. So anyway, I'm like, found she was doing what she does, like this stuff.
Yeah.
And she couldn't tell me. And then eventually we found out about it. And then it just went from there. And then we had that conversation which went for hours. And now we're here. I just listen to whatever she says. Yeah. This is what's happening now. The solar flare happening. This is what it is. Retrograde of some sort. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
That's been a big thing. Hey, you just like cracked it wide open to going, I'm being moved by other forces. And it's like going, if something big's happening, we're actually sitting down going, well, what's happening in universally? What's pushing against us in the universe that we're meant to learn? What's happening? Why are we getting into struggle with each other? What's at the baseline of it?
Microcosm is a macrocosm.
Yeah.
I do something like that, and I'm like, oh no, and she goes, oh, that's right, because Mercury's coming into retrograde, the full moon happening, right, and I'm like, write it in, so that explains it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is that level of it's definitely a wider awareness of what's moving against us versus just going, here you are, you land on this planet, you suddenly get these ridiculous feelings that don't make sense for someone that you should never have ended up with. And yet here you are, these two crazy puzzle pieces every day, and at the baseline, you just want to be together. And it's like going, and then understanding there's a bigger purpose, that we're meant to be helping people and supporting people. And it's like we did, like a couple of weeks ago, we went down to the festival in Brisbane, and it's really fun. Like Ricky kind of is out the front and he's talking to people and meeting people, reading and healing and doing my part of the job. And sometimes I just take it in and go, I can't believe we're here doing this, that we're here helping people understand higher consciousness, and we're doing it together. Like
I have no choice.
It's a bit of a pinch me moment though, that just goes, how did we get there?
I'm forced into doing it.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, it's so interesting. They say that you're not really supposed to, like, if you're the one who's like aware of it or whatever, you're not really supposed to tell the other person. So I can't tell you what a challenge it was for me to put this out here when, like, we're like, like he's gonna see it. Like, I had to die 1,000 deaths to get there.
Yeah. So I fully relate to you, Lauren, like in going, you've got all this knowledge as the feminine and you've worked your soul ascension journey, and you like going, I've learned all of these things that I know I'm meant to share with people, I'm meant to help people with, and I'm meant to move forward with. And, you know, that's what Ricky was saying. When he came back around, I was already on, you know, I have like a secret identity, which is what he was alluding to before. And I work for another company on a phone line supporting people with, you know, higher consciousness ideals. And it was like, I was diving into that platform and doing what you're doing, going, I don't feel confident in putting my twin flame message forward. I was doing it from behind a secret identity,
Yeah.
right? And going, oh
Ooh.
yeah, I could be that identity and still put my message forward and help people. But then it was like, you know, I started making little, you know, more and more people coming forward with this, with the twin flame story, and I was seeing so many holes in it. And I was just going,
Yes.
oh, just like this doesn't that. This is not how it plays out. And, you know, like
So many distortions,
with,
right?
with Ricky's, so many distortions. And it was really with, you know, Ricky's support that I went forward and went, I'm going to be myself in and put a public platform forward that says, this is who I am, and this is how I want to help people, and this is what I understand, and this is what got us to here. And it was, I fully understand that dying 1,000 deaths when you've got all of this knowledge that you want to help people with, and feel, and you're sitting there going, but I feel like a crazy person putting it forward. And what if they see it? Oh my God, what if they think that this is about them? What if they, you know, like, I don't want to expose myself that way. But it's really important to help people. You know, and to have these kind of conversations that go, union's not the end game, and
No.
that's what so puts union as the end game, and it's not.
It's a bonus, right?
Yeah, the end game is that you bring what you know to the planet to help people, because what's coming against them is actually designed to crush them. And particularly over the next 10 years, is that everything that we've learned through this twin flame journey, all of the breaking down, all of the shattering, all of the sadness, all of the hoping, all of the faith, all of those graces,
And
all of
learning
the
how to alchemize all of that shit.
exactly. If you
Yeah.
never moved back into union, and even with all the respect in the world, if our union came apart again, like the gifts that the twin flame journey has given me, I will
Keep
never
on
give back.
giving. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So to me,
Absolutely.
like the whole goal of the journey, and I'm not saying that flippantly because I have the luxury of him sitting there. Like it's like, and I go, union's not the end goal. It's beautiful,
No,
and
I
I
feel that
love it.
100%.
The end goal is about what we give back to people coming, you know, following after us, and going, if we've managed to figure out what the puzzle pieces are and go, all right, we can give that forward. That's the
Yes.
true gift, because humanity
The
needs it.
evolution of love's vibration.
That's it. That's it. It is.
Yeah.
It's, and
That's
if
we
you
need
never,
it more than anything. And that's why I was so grateful to find Mel. I love him so much.
right,
I was
right,
just like, if without him, you know, eventually I started getting the stuff on my own, but without finding him, and I'm sure like spirit led me to his videos. And this would have been so much different,
yep, yeah. Do you
you
know
know?
what's so important about Mel in this journey? It's like when I woke up to it about 10 years ago, like I didn't know what was happening. I didn't. I was just like, what the hell is this craziness, right? What has woken up within me that this journey has come alive? And it came through I got an email, like unsolicited, came from nowhere, just going, this is a process. And I fully believe you don't get drawn into the twin flame doctrine if you're not meant to experience it. Like if you're being drawn into the doctrine on one level or another, you're meant to learn and grow on some capacity. And I got drawn into it, and then Mel was the person I found. And
Mhm.
listening to him just like I mean, he was so to the point. He wasn't polite. He wasn't kind. He was going, if you think that this journey is about getting yourself a hot boyfriend, then switch off my videos now. Like,
Yeah.
this journey is the soul evolution. You need to wake up to the truth of what you've found. And I'm with you. And I think it's one of the things we've bonded on is going that doctrine made so much that was about. He shattered it.
There's so much bullshit out there that like,
Yep.
oh my God, I can help you get into union with your twin flame, or twin flames are meant to be romantic together forever. There's no one else for you like your twin flame. And just all this stuff. And even though the twin flame, that your twin flame is you, is a truth thing on a soul fractal level, that shouldn't be just given out to anybody.
It's not, no, that's the
Because
thing.
it
It's
can
such a
cause
unique
more codependency. I will never teach your twin flame is you to people who aren't like well alchemized their codependency.
absolutely. You are so spot on. Your twin flame is a it is a you are plugged into the same source code, and you do
Mhm.
share like codes that each other holds.
Oh, I see
You
it
light them up.
happening all the time with my dynamic. It's hilarious.
You're designed to trigger each other. You do, if I get into a coaching session with someone and the first thing that they're saying to me is my twin flame is unicorns, rainbows, and lollipops, I go,
Yeah,
well, maybe that's not the journey that you're on at this point in time. But if you're awake to it, let's unpack what's going on with you. And it's like it's certainly it's not that. It's like we tell each other all the time, you drive me nuts. Like you drive me nuts, but yeah, you're always pushing me to learn and grow. And like, you know, even like we got in a ridiculous little scrap like a couple of weeks ago, and he's sitting on the couch. He goes, you know what, just fuck you, like. And I just turn around and go, you know what, fuck you. And like, but then it just like dissolves into laughter and games and play. All of that side is there. But if you
yeah,
think union is rainbows and lollipops, and it's not, it's governments of conflict and going, how do we resolve this in a way that we're both becoming better people? I don't think there's anyone, don't get too too big head, but there's no one who drives me more nuts, who pushes me harder to communicate better than he does.
beautiful.
We get to a certain point of just fuck you, and that's all there is to it.
Then you just have to let it out and let it go.
And it becomes a big
She goes off, like she goes off proper. She fucking rips shreds off of me. And I'll get to a point where I'll just look at it and I'll say, you know what? Fuck you. And that's it.
And that doesn't sound romantic, does it? At all.
But that's what we need to alchemize, the ideas about romance and what it's supposed to look like and what it's supposed to be. And the fairy tale guides coming along. Oh, my twin flame's coming back and it's going to be
I
perfect
think,
this time.
Exactly.
but I think we are able to actually do that. We get to a point of, and that's all there is to it. It's just a simple fuck you and let's laugh and don't hug me just yet. Wait, don't hug me just yet.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna harass you, and then come and give me a fucking
It
hug.
is. It's and that's the thing. Anybody looking in from the outside would go, how does this work? How do you two work? Like we're just but the kicker of the energy is that we come back to it because it makes us grow and it makes us, I think we're better people. I don't know how you see it, but I think it's made me a better communicator. It's made me more compassionate.
Better communicate.
Oh yeah, I can communicate. But one of the big things that we scrap over, I suppose, is trust. In like trusting that this is going to stick, trusting that we're going to,
Doesn't fucking follow.
and that,
I had a past.
Hmm. So you,
It wasn't cool, like.
no, it was a lot. It was a lot.
We all have,
Yeah,
especially in this um experience, right? Like I
exactly.
like everyone I know that is having the twin flame experience. And this is also where it gets really tricky because you can be having the twin flame experience, right? And have come from a lot of trauma, or you can be in a trauma bond thinking you're having the twin flame experience.
Oh, yeah, smashed up. Exactly.
Right. So there's really ways, this is why it's important that you do the work,
Yeah,
because if you're working on yourself and it's a trauma bond, that trauma bond's going to go away. You're going to realize, oh, the trauma bond is usually going to be super duper toxic as well.
yeah,
But if it's the twin flame, the more I've noticed, the more I do the work, the more I like
yeah,
love I have in my own body, and like reverence I have for him.
yeah.
And like if that was a trauma bond, I think like other trauma bonds I have been in, after a little bit of work and reflection, I could be like, yeah, okay, I
Mm.
see. That's just not happening.
No, that's
Sometimes I pray for it to happen.
yeah.
Please, God, let this be a trauma bond.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Because that's the thing. When you are in a trauma bond with someone and you have the courage to walk away and you go, clearly I'm in a trauma bond with you. I'm walking away and I will work on myself. I will heal. I will grow. It generally you'll see yourself progress away. You'll feel the distance
Hmm.
get greater. But what happens when you're in a twin flame connection, the more that you heal that trauma bond, the closer you feel to them, which is messed up. And you go, I shouldn't feel the way I do about this person, and the way, like, he'll go the way I behave, the way he behaves. Neither of us are angelic in going through life, and this idea that twin flames are like Buddhist monks who just channel in enlightenment all the time. We can't be those people if we're going to move out into the world and relate to other people in pain. We
Right.
had to have gone through these processes and gone, all right, yes, you've been through trauma. Yes, I've been through trauma. How are we healing that individually? And then how does that relate you to me? That's what we're going to take out into the world when we're actually helping people as the planet rises in its evolution, as the universe brings more of its beautiful energy down, as humanity evolves. The purpose of the twin flame journey was that we understand the nuances of love in a different capacity. And generally that means you've been skulled, still stand up and say, I know how to experience love. To me, if I'm
Yeah.
hearing that dialogue come from someone who's going, I think I'm in a twin flame connection, um, and if it's all rainbows and fluffy and that, I go, I don't know if you are. But if you're aware of the journey, maybe you're meant to learn something from the doctrine. Because this
Hmm.
thing will take you to your lowest point, and it will take you to your highest point, and it will try to spit you out somewhere at the other end that's somewhere of a point of neutrality. And then how I see union looking is I wear the infinity on my wrist deliberately to remind myself that we're going to swing through positive and negative polarities all the time. And how quickly can we get back to neutral so that we can continue to create a life together? Fuck you. That's our neutral point.
And it's
But
interesting how every like individual and like set of twin flames, the lessons are different. Like there's a lot of twin flames who learn through like breaking up, and it was tumultuous. My situation, we were nothing but like reverent and loving and kind to each other. And that was because that was my biggest trauma fear, is having the rug pulled out when everything just felt so fucking right.
Yeah.
And that opened up my core wound in a way where I started remembering traumas from like being younger that I
Yeah.
forgot about, and like past lives and just everything that I suppressed. So all this deep pain that I was going through, he was just the tip of the iceberg of it.
Yes. Yeah. They are that thing where they go, it's, you know, and it will be things that you don't deal with, things that you suppress, things that you hide, things that you put away. Is like, this is going to be the person. It will be through their actions, it will be through their words, through their processes, but in understanding that it's not their actions that it's the problem, it's that
Even
you're
if they're
holding the
not being
frequency of
intentional about it, it happens.
the
You know, the triggering still happens, even if it's not like I'm triggering you, I'm triggering you. It's just
yeah.
happens.
Like, I gotta fuck around to find out what I did wrong. Like, I come home, she be happy. All of a sudden, it's like, all right, what did I do now? Like, I gotta fuck around to find out what I did wrong. Like,
It is. It's not always a straightforward thing, and it's going. I suppose, and it's conversations we've had in going with consciousness. It's going, where are you vulnerable? You know, what's your vulnerability? Where, you know, and like, I mean, I'm open. My vulnerability is trust. Even this far down the journey, I'm still like, and it's like, at times he doesn't even understand what the trigger is, and I'm like going, sit down, you know, we need to talk, and he's like, what did I do? Like, completely blindsided because he's not doing anything, but just in the process of being triggered and healing my wound, it's like, you know, it's my perception that something is happening, and he's not doing it deliberately, but in the same breath, I'm not deliberately doing things to trigger you, and you walk out with thunder. And it's, this is the point is, on a lesser connection, there's things that have gone on between us that you just would never come back for, right? You just would never come back for. And we're painting a picture. It sounded like we're always grumping at each other. We're not.
I
But
know,
what we
I
do
know
want to,
that.
yeah, and we laugh a lot. We've got a really easy friendship.
we do have water breaks in between them, but that's fine.
It is. It's an easy friendship, but
What
like
would
when
you
we,
say the most powerful lesson you've learned in the whole journey is, and then the most powerful lesson you've learned recently in your journey?
I don't know what.
it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one.
I don't know.
I think the most powerful lesson that I've learned is that, and it's one of those flippant terms, but I'm gonna unpack it. It's like, um, love is a frequency you can tap into at any point, right? It's an,
Yes.
yeah, it is completely unconditional, and it's completely unrelated to the people that you have around you, the situation that you have around you. It's a conscious decision to
It's
tap
you.
into the frequency, right? That's been the overall lesson. And you know, and it's hard to really express how important that ideal is, right? It's
Oh
like, it
yeah.
sounds,
That's
people
the
go,
that's the
oh,
thing. That's the mission,
yeah,
to
yeah,
help people to see that and to feel that love in their
yeah,
body,
yeah,
which is the same thing as
yes.
God and the same thing as truth.
Yeah, it is. It's like the biggest lesson is to go, it's that's it. Unconditional love is the understanding that it's always there, and it's a choice to tap into it. That's been the biggest lesson. Recently, it's been going that, because probably since about October last year, we've been in another big round of triggering that we're, you know, we're working our way out of, and we're much better. But it was like that I could be triggered in his company and be okay. I don't have to run, you know, like
Mhm.
I can be,
Oh, that's a good one.
yeah. And we kind of made a pact not to run, but it's my instinct is to is to hot foot it when I get uncomfortable, like
Mhm.
going, and more recently it's been, and I credit you with this, and we had our first like encounter that was something of a stout. You stood me up and you said, just stand there and talk, don't run. And it was like, what? Like you physically went, just stand there and talk and work the problem in the moment, instead of like running away for however long you're going to run away for, and then you ring me back and say, still can't forget about you, how you going. And it's like, and we kind of made a promise that day that no matter how tough it got, we wouldn't run, because whatever triggers in twin flames that go, I need to run away from you. It's a heightened feeling. It's a
Yeah.
heightened that other people don't necessarily get in
Oh, I
their
saw him go
relationships.
through it. I was like, what?
Yeah,
It didn't
yeah.
look fun.
It's not, because you just like it's like it's such a, I don't know. It's this feeling. It's a you love this person, but you have this compulsion to put distance there, and
Mhm.
And I'm not built for long distance running. I'm not chasing you fucking forever.
Yeah, I didn't do any chasing at all. Maybe like energetic.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's the kicker, isn't it? It's going, chasing is still an energy. It's like
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
you're,
and you can really think that like, oh, I'm surrendered, I'm not doing any of
yeah,
that. But no, you have to be really honest with yourself.
you do. You have to look at the intention behind even telling yourself that you surrendered. In telling
Yeah.
myself that I've surrendered, that will bring him back. Surely that will bring him back if I just surrender.
This was a
Surrender's not that
realization.
state.
It's
No.
funny. I had this realization a couple months ago when I had like a short conversation with him. And after the conversation, I said to myself just automatically, like, we're both done all the work and we're so far advanced. Why can't it just happen? And I still had a little bit of attachment. And then I was able to like really just alchemize it.
Yeah. But in the same breath, here's the thing, is going, as a twin flame, there's this doctrine out there that I want to put a pin in the bubble. I think has been misconstrued largely in going, at, around attachment and desire, because the
Hmm.
truth is that if you don't maintain some level of desire for the connection,
Yes.
right?
Okay. That's there.
Yeah, right. But what the kicker for me is to go is, you know, what is the difference between attachment and desire? Like if you don't
What
have
is it?
desire, you won't manifest it. It will not ever come back around.
I feel like attachment, and let's feel into that.
Yeah,
So attachment, where you feel that in your body and what it feels like. Attachment. It feels like lack. Like I need this thing because I don't have it.
yeah. That's but that's the birth of desire as well, is understanding that you don't have it and you want it. But where the process changes, where it alchemizes, is where you also imagine the outcome, or you imagine the solution, right? So it's like I can see in
Oh,
the
where attachment is not that. Mhm.
yeah. See, it's like I can have desire for my twin flame connection and put it up on the shelf and do all those kinds of things. Like unless you get a lobotomy and you cut part of your brain out, like you will still have thoughts about a twin flame connection. You will. So the kicker to that energy is going, all right, how do I then understand that I've got it on the shelf? It's still part of my energy. How does that not become attachment? It's become, when it's not attachment is when you can look at the solution as well as the problem together. When it's like attachment, you are just going, it's over there. I want it.
The
I'll never get it.
problem.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But when you can look at
And
the solution as well as the
attachment's
problem, even
closed.
when it's not.
Attachment's closed. Like I need this. Desire's open.
Open. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. I desire this thing to come around. How does desire then turn into manifestation? Is you're imagining the outcome. And my number one tip for twin flames in going, what is the solution to the problem, is knowledge. Understand the journey that you're on. And it's like you will never, ever be less off for putting your energy into knowledge. And if the one thing that's
Yes.
keeping you in attachment is thinking that you're not allowed to desire your twin flame connection, then
Oh,
knowledge,
yes. That's suppressing.
yeah, yeah. Knowledge
Mhm.
teaches you why you have to hold it as a desire, not as a. So it's that would be my red hot tip for anyone who's stuck in separation and just not knowing what to do with it.
Yeah.
Understand you're allowed to have desire, but how that is not an attachment condition to desire something and to work through it.
100%. Because if
Yeah,
you're lying to yourself, I don't have desire, I don't want them, and just pushing it down, it's going to manifest in other ways in your body and in your energy field. And what it's doing is it's a desire or attachment is also a contraction.
yep,
And to have this love flow, God flow through our body, we have to release those contractions. So that's another difference.
yeah,
And Mel talks about this too. Like if he says like you're feeling really attached and thinking about them all the time, you need to give your inner child like a little bit of time each day to play in that arena, and then you can basically have the rest of your day free.
yeah. Like let that voice have an outlet.
Yes.
Because if you just squash it, it just becomes stuck energy in your field, and it's nobody enjoys that, because then it starts to become illness and injury and all those other things that we don't want to play with. So it is, for mine, it's going, acknowledging, but let's get healthy about what desire looks like. Like
Yes.
you can have healthy desire. That's the
You
core of
totally
manifestation.
can. And
Yeah.
it's all about being open. I have
Yeah.
a practice that I want to share with my viewers. It's a ritual that I usually only share in my VIP containers, but I feel like it's needed.
Hmm.
So when we're in this, especially in the beginning phases, like you're going to want to still work to alchemize it. You're not going to want to like just release it or whatever. You want to turn it into a different frequency. So you're
Yeah.
feeling this attachment. So set up a little like love altar or whatever, and it doesn't have to be like a romantic, but just a representation of love and like the capital L love, right? Not
Yeah.
like you and your twin flame, whatever you want to do. Just make it a love altar, like a love
Yeah.
goddess altar. Light a couple candles, and then make a playlist. The first 5 songs are the divine feminine. The next 5 songs are the divine masculine. And the next 5 songs, or like 2 songs, 2 songs, 2 songs, whatever, are kind of like a union. And this will help with your internal masculine and feminine energies.
Yep.
So you first like just call yourself back and dance with the divine feminine and dance with yourself and just really call all the aspects of the divine feminine back to you. And
Yeah.
then you're not going to call in your divine masculine, but you're going to open and invite his energy in if it wants to come in. Because otherwise it's chasing.
Yeah.
And then you are just going to feel the dance of that in your body, and that's actually going to be your own masculine and feminine energies.
Exactly. They do. They have to dance in a balanced way. And what you're saying is actually the number one goal. It's going in a way. It's like it's going. You have to have that balance of masculine and feminine dancing within you, but in the same breath, it's like the dance is, you're conscious of it or not. It's like going. So if you go, I suppose where I'm heading with that is the other question I get a lot is going, I think I can feel his energy in my energy field. Is it me or is it him? And exactly what you're saying is you have to allow those energies to both dance within you and assume that it's all you. So it's not to call him in deliberately, but to
Mm-hmm.
assume it's there anyway. And if you can feel it, It's yours. So that practice that you're talking about gets you out of that energy of going, I need to attribute it to this person. But
Yes.
clearly, this energy is part of my energy field, and I need to be able to walk with it in a healthy way on any given day. So
Right.
probably what comes up that's a beautiful ritual, by the way. I love that.
Thank
It's
you.
like, and I would imagine that in that ritual
That's
that,
alchemy in itself because I created it from
yes,
a place of feeling attachment and pain and just wanting to feel more love, you know?
yeah, yeah, no, it does. It helps. Anything that you can do, like anything that you can lean in on and go, this is what I understand about the process of the doctrine. And it's like going, um, understanding that you're always connected to the divine and always connected to your divine masculine. It's like, if you can't get to that baseline of how how the process works, then you're always going to be just in your higher consciousness. But if you can get into that process of understanding that it's a dance between energies, then processes such as that one actually really evolve you. Like going,
They
I understand
do.
it's an energetic being, and I have to completely take it as in this room, in my arms, holding me, loving me, doing all these things, and go. And it feels like an abstract process, and sometimes when you're suggesting these things to people who are stuck in separation, they're
They'll
going,
think it
well, how
sounds
does
really
that help
crazy.
bring him back in?
Right. And you're like, well, it
Yeah, and
doesn't
you go,
help
well,
bring him
it's not
back
designed
in.
for that. Exactly, it's not designed for that.
Not what it's
Yeah,
for. If that happens, like the fact that if that's supposed to happen, it's going to happen faster if you get with yourself and balance your own internal energies. And if it's not supposed to happen, then once you balance your own internal energies, life is going to freaking open to you anyway. Because
you better anyway.
this experience is a dynamite for anything that's not true in your life.
Exactly. That's the kicker. That is the kicker. Anything that sits as a false doctrine in your life will be exposed, and it will be open for, like, it's
100%.
I don't it's open if it is a process that you meant to move through and then move out of. This journey will be like floodlights on it to crack you open, to move it and to evolve it, with the only goal being that you understand the nuances of love. It's
Mhm.
like
And
people
have to
think
work with
we're chasing
energy.
enlightenment, but we're not. We're not chasing enlightenment. To sit in enlightenment means that you would sit as a Buddhist monk in a temple, just constantly in devotion to God. That's what enlightenment looks like. And there's a lot of push out there going, if you just come into enlightenment, your twin flame will return.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. Like, what we're chasing is understanding the nuances of love and higher consciousness and how they dance
Mhm.
together. And that's going to be the baseline of how humanity rises and particularly over the next 10 years.
I can't
And
wait.
me neither. It's going to be, it's already been a heck of a ride. And we're learning and growing, and like we say, we just want to we do want to stick some pins in balloons of some of the fantastical ideas out there.
Yes.
And
What's enough? Do you have any more that you want to stick a pin in? I'm all
oh,
about sticking pins.
Don't get us started. We'll be here all day.
I can talk underwater.
Yeah.
But it has. I mean, is there anything that you go that was, because I know I talk a lot, but is there anything that you sort of sit there and go, this is something that when we sit here is different to what you thought love would look like when you were younger? Or
No. To be honest, I don't really think about that stuff. It's not until we have our conversations about stuff like that, then I'm like, oh, yeah. But it was just sitting there, I don't think about that shit.
but we
I don't see
have
signs until there you go. What did that happen? Is there? And then other than that, man,
yes.
too much energy for me to think of that like that.
what we're looking for, like, is to go, is there something, because there's lots of people out there sitting where we were,
Yeah.
like, and I know, like, like this platform is intimidating to put your vulnerabilities out there, but it's like when we have big conversations about this stuff, it's like where you are now versus when you're younger because of the journey, like things that your eyes are open to, because even sort of before then you weren't really looking for spirit to give you messages, and now it's like going, oh, I see how spiritual language works and all that kind of stuff. No.
No.
Okay.
It's a platform when you're on the
I'll
spot.
share one thing that I feel is really important on this journey, and it's to learn to love out in the open. Because we contract around our love. Oh, I shouldn't be this, I shouldn't say this because it's going to make me look this way. And to like learn to love out in the open is what is going to teach other people how to love. But before you can do that, you have to alchemize all the stuff, like not all the stuff, you don't have to be perfect, but there's a lot of the stuff that's not love has to be worked out.
Yeah. And I suppose this is something that we do stick a pin in the ballooning, right? In going in this journey, and you can see it in the way that Ricky and I talk, right? Is going, my language around this is much more like I've been talking about it for 10 years versus Ricky, who's been, opening up to this process. The feminine goes first.
Oh,
So
yeah. Did you ever see
yeah.
that meme where the little kids are one is puking in the toilet and one is holding one's like hair back or something, and it's like the divine feminine is in the back holding the hair back of the divine masculine awakening.
If we're going to go stick a pin in the balloon, it goes, when you get to union, it's like, even though the conversations are about, and this is not for every twin flame pair, because there are some, divine masculines who have fully woken up into the full evolution, and you might even meet them at that point. But our journey has been,
Yeah, they're all
exactly
so
what you're
different.
saying. I'm holding your hair back going, how you going there? Learning and growing, and it might not necessarily be that all the language is correct, but and like being open to big conversation. But this is really brave for him to come on a podcast and go, let's talk about like being
I'm so
open.
honored.
Yeah, it's massive. And even like when we're going to festivals and stuff, he's open with people and he goes, I'm still learning this language, but I'm on this journey. And like what we found at the last festival was other men were coming over.
I'm seeing a lot more men coming, like in the last couple months.
And they were, yeah, and they are at the baseline. Yeah, right. And they're like sitting there, energy is kind of like divorced from where they are. And this is kind of, the processes that we've been going, and probably that and we hold it as that night that he sort of reached out and goes, something weird is happening to me, I need to talk to you about it. And you kind of go, this spiritual awakening is happening. But I've been speaking this language for forever, and for divine masculine, it's like they're learning the alphabet new. So, and they're learning to be more open, learning to be more vulnerable, learning to stand up in this space. And I suppose that's the kicker, is they come back and they're like learning an alphabet that we speak fluently, and we have to give them
Takes
that
time.
grace. Yeah.
And that to witness that opening in the divine masculine is really beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really beautiful that like they're getting, like men are getting into a space where they feel like grounded enough in their masculinity to be vulnerable, because vulnerability is so opening.
That's the tough bit. Hey, that's the tough bit. And like masculinity, you can do all day long. It's like going. Even yesterday, I'm having a joke. Like we're moving some stuff out of the house, and he's just throwing stuff on the back of the trailer, and I'm just like, oh, I love masculinity. Like I can sit in that appreciation and go, it's to do those physical tasks and to stand tall in the world, to provide, to protect, to do all those things that is traditionally masculine. Is like I sit in awe of. I go, I'm so aware of your masculinity. And like, but when he moves into that vulnerable space, which is really, you can say it's not an easy thing to be a masculine man and to
Mhm.
come forward and go, I know other people are hurting. I'll do my best to offer some insight into what I understand. It's like that's a really vulnerable space to sit
Such a
in.
vulnerable space.
Yeah. So it's like, like I fully honor
And
that
it doesn't make it, like, the thing
that
is like being vulnerable like that doesn't make a man
you.
any less masculine like they've been conditioned to believe. It's actually like it like opens it to a higher frequency.
I really don't care what people say about me.
Good. Yeah, there's a
Makes
lot of
me
men do
feel
though.
better.
That's the thing.
That's the thing, and that's the cracking open.
You can
Mhm.
say, do whatever you want. Doesn't worry me, man. That's what floats your boat. Go ahead, do it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's a good spot to be in.
This one just makes me do whatever I have to do.
Oh, stop! You made me sound terrible.
So I do want to say that Susie, you are one of the very few, probably like the only card reader that in the twin flame community that I like can definitely say that I trust.
Oh,
Um,
thank you,
I
Lauren.
You've made such beautiful cards. Like Susie makes her own cards. It's the Pink Diamond Tarot, and her sessions are just so beautiful. And she focuses on the whole journey, like the soul space, the heart space, the mind space, and her intuition. It just feels so pure, and it's just so like in the moment. And there's no the energy that she brings is just open. There's no like grasping energy. A lot of tarot readers, you can kind of feel them pull on your energy a little bit, and I don't get that at all with you. So
Oh,
I
thank you.
really appreciate the work that you guys do, and I will recommend you to anyone who's looking for a reading, and I have.
Yes,
I
thank
feel like
you.
I'm just so grateful for your service, and yeah, I just wanted to say that. So is there anything else that you two wanted to share before we wrap up?
Oh, I've got chills, and look, when you wanted to speak, and I just spoke over the top. Yeah.
Nothing new. That's all right.
I'm definitely the chatterbox in our connection, but I do want to say, this journey, like I'm gonna thank you for this
Thank you.
journey, and that you take this journey with me and everything. The the reason
I just have
to be in service to the community is that you do support. So I want to say thank you so much, and to you, Lauren. It's like being able to connect with people all over the world as part of this twin flame journey, and meeting a beautiful soul such as yourself is, like it's like sister to sister. I'm honored to be part
Mm,
of your journey and everything, the work that you're doing and all the help that you're giving. It's like I really want to honor you as well.
thank
It,
you.
it truly a gift that this journey gives, that that we do get to connect with soul family all over the world, and
Yes, that's
I want
one
to thank
big
you
thing.
so much for bringing
Thank
us
you.
into your world.
This has been beautiful.